Hey guys, what's going on? Randy from Motodrang, and this is a pretty cool review for me. It's kind of different. As you can see, we got a lot of retro bikes here. Well, this is a big group that gets together here at Cascade Moto in Beaverton, Oregon, and they all get together and they do a ride and they map it out, and it's kind of cool. So they're actually going to be loaning me, kind of for more long term, a Bobber Black. I'll show you the bike here in a minute. So anyways, I'll have the bike for a few days, and I'll get to test it out at night. I'll get to test it out as a commute. How is it to commute on? Get a better perspective for a end perception of that machine. So with that said, I'm going to get up there and sign in and see you guys in a minute. If you guys haven't seen the video of the overview of this bike and the difference between this and a standard bobber, check out the link here or here, wherever it lands. But check it out because I talk about the two bikes, and that's important. One thing worth mentioning right away is that it's going to take me a little bit to get used to the seating setup on this, where your feet go very different than what I am used to. I'm having to look where the feet controls are. Okay, feels good. Mirrors, acceptable. Kind of see a little bit of the elbow, but you know, that's the one thing, is that you can change basically everything on this bike, and you can find a mirror that works better. These are totally acceptable though, and I kind of like that they're in. So you know, if you're gonna lane split or filter or whatever you want to call it, would probably work pretty good for that. If you're a tall rider, you're gonna want the forward foot controls. I have a 36-inch inseam, and it's feeling a little bit cramped. As far as maneuvering in town, works really good. Pleased. It's got a lot of pep. You know, like I said, you get the power way low. A big van goes in front of me to block us here. Road bumps gonna take a little. You know, it's kind of a stiffly sprung bike, which, you know, you probably want that. Cut you off. There we go. Boom. Back with the group. Very maneuverable. I would say it's a little lethargic. Okay, so this version of the Bonnie is definitely more instantly lethargic than, say, standard Bonneville or Scrambler series. You're sitting lower in the bike, and the way that you're positioned, I think that's really what's causing it. It's, you know, this bike, as I understand it, has the same chassis as the Speedmaster. So the Speedmaster is the one with the beach bars, and it's got a pillion. But if you look at them, they are very similar, except for that reinforced pillion. And when I sat on a Speedmaster, it's very much like this, except for, of course, the seat's a little different on this. Of course, it's a tractor seat. It's bouncy. Well, it's stiff, but I mean, it's you know, old school. If you guys have never ridden in a large group, it's really funny. This is my second time now. Yesterday was the first. I went on a same group of guys, different style of bikes, and way more windy. But you know, if you've never done it, the chaos is kind of interesting. You the group has to do some wacky things to stay together. You know, while the cagers are trying to go to Bed Bath & Beyond or whatever it is they do all day. Just some wacky stuff going on here. People going through the bike lanes. Oh, it's fun. So this is a really cool way to review this bike, you know, because I am really having to push the bike to more of a limit than I would normally on a first impression. I will give you more than a first impression at the end of this series. Maybe I'll make this a part 1, part 2, depending on bumps are hard. Should have dodged it. It's a really fun bike to be on. So you do have rider modes, so you have rain and road, I think, and which is nice. And you get ABS, which is really nice, especially out here where it rains a lot. My ABS kicks in regularly on my Tiger. But this is a very different experience than that, obviously. I mean, road bikes generally are, but I will tell you this: you are going to want to dodge the dang bumps, because this is a stiff riding bike, and I think for it to sit this low, it sort of has to be. So we'll dodge that. Boop boop, easy. One thing I think that's pretty cool about like Triumph bikes, you know, I'm sitting on this machine. It's got a history of cool associated with it. It's got some grunt. It's got a real throaty sound. It's got power. It's got the style. But Triumph is a brand that you can sort of bring your own you know, style into it. You know, if you want to ride in adventure gear, yeah, it works. You know, if you want to wear a kilt, I think there's a guy in the group that often does wear a kilt. Looks like we have mistaken some directions here. This is what I'm talking about with the chaos, by the way. Trying to figure out what everyone's wanting to do. But hey, man, you know, do whatever you want. You want to wear jeans and leather and be a hunk, typical hunk, that's fine. You look good. You want to wear a kilt, that's fine. You look good. For me, I'm kind of a nerd, you know. I like a lot of pink. Pink is my favorite color. See, I'm opening up to you guys. You're gonna get to know me. I want you guys to see I'm at pretty low RPM here. I have to switch over to the RPM there. Nope, that's not it. 30. Okay, we're at 3,000 RPM. Oh yes, it really likes 3,000 RPM and up. It kind of peters out once you get to about 6. It feels like, you know, it feels like that you're really starting to leave the torque band. But it really likes that. Now I'm really getting more comfortable with the controls and the handling, and the key with this bike, it's like riding a Harley, you know, it's all in the hips, and just follow your line. I wouldn't say this would be my go-to canyon carving machine. I don't really do a lot of that. A couple of close calls sort of broke me of that, but you know, it handles good. So Portland's got these like roads all through it. It's so funny. I mean, you're like in the middle of the city, but you would just never know it. And a good reason to take these rides is that it opens up new sort of routes or whatever. Sorry, it's hard for me to talk and ride. Anyways, it opens up these routes which get you around. Oh, that's a pothole. Bam! Gotta be real careful around here. The roads are total shite. But like I'm saying, you know, there's all these neat little workarounds to avoid the congestion, and we have a lot of it. If you're not from here, it's getting really bad. Portland is quickly approaching Los Angeles, but there's one difference as a motorcyclist, and that is here lane splitting is illegal. Now, that's not to say some of us don't do it, but it's illegal. I think we're in Multnomah Village. It's supposed to be a real hip place. There's a lot of restaurants. Pretty cool place to walk around. Impossible to park a car, it looks like. So one interesting thing I'm noticing is that you know, I feel like this bike, I'm going for it. You feel like this bike has floorboards on it, but what you're actually standing on is the pipes. I set my feet up and I'm like, this thing has boards? And I look down and it's like, no, my foot was on the exhaust pipe. So another reason I think forward controls is a better idea with this. You know, it's funny because the Speedmaster comes with forward controls, and like, I don't know if you can see my feet, but I would just rather them be up there. Just a little more ergonomic for this style of bike. The seat is a little hard, but for me, I typically like that because soft seats really start to wear on me after about an hour. I do much better on a plank than I do on a mattress. Okay, I do have a bit of criticism now. Okay, so I'm used to my Tiger. Even my old 2012 Tiger has self-canceling signals, and I know you're thinking, well, la-di-da, Moto Drang. But once you get used to like luxury, you don't want to go back. Heated seats, heated grips, you know, those kinds of things. Cruise control. This has cruise control, but it doesn't have self-canceling signals as far as I can tell. Maybe it does hidden in there. I will correct myself if not. But I keep leaving the damn blinker on, and I probably look like, you know, Maynard G. Cribs on this thing because of it. So I have to sort of keep that. And I'm getting left. Oh boy. So this bike holds a nice line and turns. That's something I want to add to this. I probably will make this a 2-part review. This video will be first impressions, and part 2 will be after I've ridden it to work and lived with it for just a little bit. And but I can tell you, like, one thing I noticed is once you figure out where the bike likes to do, what it likes to do in a turn, it really does hold a nice line. It's not real jittery about what you're doing. All right, guys, so we're here at Right. No stress.
Yeah, no stress.
So we're here at the Skyline Tavern, and we just did a windy road ride and everything, and I met Tony here, who owns a Bobber Black.
Yep, Matt Black.
All right, so he's owned his bike for about a year, and so we're going to do just what we like and don't like about the bike. So I'll go first since I'm like new to it. You might disagree. Right. So what I noticed is that it's a real neutral sitting bike. Because I'm a little lanky, I think I would like the forward controls better, and I'd like the bars a little further back. But it is comfortable, and the seat's surprisingly comfortable, considering you can't really move around, like a
definitely
like a tall bike.
Yeah, I would say the thing I least like about the bike is the seat overall. After about an hour or two of riding, you start getting kind of sore in your lower back, and if it had a little bit more padding overall and maybe just a little bit wider of a seat, it'd be a lot more comfortable overall.
But surprisingly comfortable for what it is. I mean, it's thin.
It's thin, you definitely feel the jolts when you're going around in your lower back.
They probably heard me saying oof a lot when I was riding. Another thing I noticed was this vibration through the seat at about 3,000 RPM, and it only is the sweet spot, but it was like really, really noticeable through the seat in that range. Under it was fine, over it was fine, but
I personally don't notice that vibration, so I don't know. Maybe it's something wrong with that particular bike, or maybe our height difference. That could be it. I don't know.
It kind of interesting, anyways. One more weird thing was that my feet. I kept actually putting my feet on the pipes.
That's one thing I do agree. The actual exhaust has that little shield, I guess, to protect the pipes, and it's meant for that. But I guess that's where maybe a semi-mid to forward control would come in handy, kind of like in the Speedmaster. Then you would get your feet on the pipes. So I'm constantly having to wipe it down at the end of the day, especially when my feet get crusty or whatever. But it's not too bad.
So I don't have a lot about bad to say. I mean, the power's good. It's like smooth. The gearing seems tall.
Yeah.
I mean, I was probably doing up to 30 in first gear.
I agree. Yeah, second. So a lot of gear switching if you're going turtles. And but I've gone over 120 on it. So
120. Yeah. Have you wheelied it?
No, that's one thing I still haven't grown the balls to do yet.
I don't do that either. Yeah. Especially with things I own. So
I was amazed actually the way how the bike handled, because before I bought the bike, I was looking at an Indian Scout, also traditional Harleys.
The K60 or
the Bobber, the Scout Bobber.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cool. And basically iron 883 Harley. The difference, what I liked about the Triumph, the center of gravity, a lot lower, more stable. The Indian Scout felt really nice too for my height, but it kind of felt a little bit higher up, the weight. And then definitely the Harley, you could definitely very top heavy. So when you're leaning to the turns, it kind of, I just didn't
Harley,
like the way
you really
it felt.
have to dump a lot of money once you buy the bike.
That was a big difference too. I mean, my bike versus that Harley, huge power difference.
The Triumph versus
the Triumph versus the Harley. Obviously you got to do the stage 1, 2, 3, etc. kits on a Harley, and this bike right off the bat, I mean, good, awesome power. Even test rode the new Harley. I think it's the FXDR. It's like their top of the line.
It's a cool looking bike.
But it weighs about, I think, 150 pounds more than my bike, and my bike definitely will outgun it easily.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
I was really surprised about that.
I think Harley's
stock versus stock.
It looks fast and it sounds fast, probably not moving that fast.
I mean, well, compared to other Harleys, it was fast, but yeah, you know how it is with Harley. I like all bikes, it doesn't matter. I'm not hating on Harley or anything.
I have to joke. One company needs my joke, so it's Harley right now.
Yeah.
And they don't give me bikes to ride, so give me bikes to ride, Harley, and then I won't do this anymore. So, all right, well, thanks, Tony.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
Nice meeting you, bud.
Cheers.